Hey everybody, this is your Sam and I'm here with another video. Today is another part of the foreshadowing series and we're going to be covering a few more flowers and some herbs today. I think we're going to do one more video on flowers or trees, bushes and stuff like that, and then we'll move on to something else. A little caveat here, if you're in another country other than the United States and maybe Britain a little bit, make sure that you research a little bit on what your flowers mean and what your colors mean there. Someone was nice enough in one of the comments in my former videos to remind me that colors and flowers do mean different things in different countries. And this is mostly for United States based. Some of these flowers might not grow naturally in your region as well. Keep that in mind too. It's really easy to look up once you know the flower name or something like that. You can look up to see where it grows naturally and when it grows as well. So if you have a book set in May, then mums probably aren't going to be flowering in May. I also want to go over a little bit on some more foreshadowing ideas and kind of tips and why you want to use foreshadowing. Flowers and animals and things like that are definitely more of a mysterious type of foreshadowing. It's not a in your face, the reader's going to automatically pick up on what it means on the foreshadowing element. But that also gives a sense of aha, and it ties everything together. It ties your beginning to your end, or your beginning to your middle, or your middle to your end. It ties in different scenes, and it just adds an extra thread that your reader can follow along with your plot threads and your subplot threads. It keeps the readers engaged more, especially if they have knowledge of these things or they are doing a focused read of your book and not just kind of burning through it. This is also great for rereaders and those that want to pick up on these little nuances and see if you've done it. Foreshadowing can also help you out a lot to create red herrings. If you want to throw your readers off the scent of your main villain or your main love interest or something like that, foreshadowing can help that out a lot too, because it can lead your reader to say the bestie, but it's not the bestie, it's someone entirely different. And all the signs were actually pointing to the bestie, but there were a lot of other signs that were pointing to the actual person. And red herrings are a lot of fun in a lot of genres. It's not just relegated to kind of a mystery or suspense or thriller type, or even horror for that matter. Without further ado, I guess we'll jump into the flowers and herbs now. Again, I'm just kind of doing a handful at a time, and just to give you some ideas, hopefully to inspire you a little bit. The first one is going to be Belladonna. Belladonna has been used in a lot of poisonings and a lot of books and some movies. It means beautiful lady, pretty much literally, and in the language of flowers it means silence, and kind of wonder why, right? Belladonna is an herb. It can be used for skin and joint pain, used in ointments a lot. Now, where it comes into the poisoning, it does affect the nervous system when ingested or overly used on skin. It's used for death. Belladonna is related to death a lot, and it's related to poison a lot. You can turn it on its head a little bit. Like I said, it is used as an herb, and it means silence. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the silence of death if you don't want it to be. And a way that you can use Belladonna is you can have it around one of the characters that's going to die eventually, or maybe even go mute. Maybe your story is about a character who loses their voice, and the process of that, the determination that they have to go through in order to learn how to live without a voice. And you can kind of tie Belladonna in anywhere in the scenes in the first of the book, and once the diagnosis is revealed, you can have maybe a drawing of the Belladonna or something like that, or there's a scene where they throw the Belladonna plant out the window in anger because they can't cope with the news yet, something to that nature. Rosemary is the next one, and rosemary means remembrance. Rosemary is a very odorous plant. It has a very particular smell, and science has proved that smell is tied to memories. And I think that's kind of neat in a way, because a lot of herbs are very fragrant. A lot of flowers are actually very fragrant. So anytime that you use flowers, you can also tie it to a character's memory. Rosemary is a very useful herb. It's used in a lot of cooking. There's rosemary chicken, rosemary everything. And therefore you don't necessarily have to use the plant anywhere. You can use the scent, you can use the herb in cooking if you're doing a cooking scene or something like that, and you can just tie it in throughout the story. Maybe your character has suppressed memories that they are trying to work through in order to move on with their life. You can kind of tie in the rosemary all throughout the moments where they start remembering things and the repression is lifted a little bit, and they can start working through those memories that they crushed down into their subconscious. Rosemary also improves concentration and digestion, and that's the reason why it's a very good herb to use in your cooking, because it is so very helpful. And that could also help your character to remember those repressed memories. Also, rosemary can be used a little bit in some ghost stories. Maybe the ghost starts remembering their past life and starts becoming more self-aware. The next plant is valerian. Valerian is a very useful herb too. It treats insomnia and anxiety and a few other things, but insomnia and anxiety are what it's mostly used for or known for. And valerian is kind of a weird thing with me, because valerian to me, I remember this character named Valerian, and he was a very buff, strong character, and I can't even remember the book that he's from, but Valerian means readiness, and that's kind of how I tie that into the character, because that character was very ready. I remember now, it was a Sherilyn Kenyon character, Dark Hunter series. That's the reason why. It's romantic fantasy, highly recommend. But how you can use valerian in there is any type of warrior, any type of hero story. You can have valerian on their crest or something like that. It means that they're always at the ready. And the way you can use valerian as a herb, and that is maybe they use it to cure their insomnia and cure their anxiety, to make them ready for the world to come, whatever your plot is going to throw at those characters. Dill is the next one, and it is powerful against evil as the meaning. And it's actually an herb. It's an antibacterial and it's an antimicrobial, which might, give you a little hint as to where they got the meaning, because way back in the day, fungus and infections and stuff like that were often seen as the devil at work. Dill can be used in cooking. Again, it is still very fragrant, and it's used in a lot of dishes as well. You can tie in dill with your demon hunters if you want to. Instead of using salt like the Winchesters did in Supernatural, maybe it's dill that they shake everywhere and ward off the demons, or create a lines that the demons can't cross. Something to that nature. And you can tie dill in throughout your story. Maybe they're just realizing the powerful uses of dill, and You can just kind of tie that in, and it can relate to how your main character is becoming more and more useful as well, or more and more powerful against evil. The next one that kind of ties in with Dill that I want to do is the holly. Holly means defense. It also means domestic happiness. It's a lot of the reasons why holly was often hung on door frames or over window frames or in the house in general, used in a lot of decorations. It was meant to bring happiness to the home, or to defend the home against evil spirits, or just evilness in general, or bad omens and things like that. Holly and Dill can be worked in together to show the growth of your character in their defense against evil. If you're doing like a demonic thing, holly can also be used to kind of foreshadow the breaking of the defense, the breaking of a wall that your character has built, possibly. Maybe they need to change from being so self-conscious or self-loathing or self-reliant and breaking themselves down to being more community oriented or falling in love or something like that. And you can kind of show that a little bit with maybe a holly tree that they have out front. Maybe it's old and dying, and as it dies, showing your character more open and being more susceptible to love or to community or to helping others or letting others in. Clematis is one of my favorite flowers. I actually had clematis in my wedding. I had it in some garlands and stuff. So clematis means mental beauty, and I've always thought that the meaning of clematis was relatable, and it's something that I've always aspired to have, was a state of mental beauty where my mind was more positive and I was more helpful and open and things like that, because that to me is mental beauty. You can use clematis as a foreshadowing thing because clematis is actually a vine, so it can get tangled up in something that your character has or something around the household, and it just continues to grow and make its presence known. And it can show the growth of your character as the story moves along. And now it can also show where someone in your character's life is going to be more highly regarded, maybe a leader, a spiritual leader or a community leader or something like that, and they deal a lot with clematis. Maybe they're planting some, or they value the flower too, they think it's pretty or something like that, so they're gathering it for like the morning bouquets to go throughout the house or something like that. And that just can show that that character in particular is going to become more important, more of a stable element for your main character because of their mental fortitude, their reasoning, the way that they can help your character intellectually. That's pretty much all I've got for you today. There are a few different colors in some of those flowers, so you kind of tie the colors in there too for whatever meaning that you need in order to use in your foreshadowing or in your character building or scene building as well. As always, thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Most of my videos are on writing related stuff, and that can include going through depression and anxiety and how you can still be creative with mental health issues, things like that. I put videos up every Sunday and Thursday, and I do have live streams every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on my channel. Again, thank you for watching, thank you for tuning in. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite flowers are and if I have mentioned them yet. If I have not, maybe I can include them into the next video. As always, be kind to one another, stay safe, keep writing, keep being creative, and I'll see you next time.